Mr. Demario Johnson,
Uh,
how you doing? Good to see you.
Same here, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah, and hi. Come on, whoever names you can say. You can start packing them in my car. Is this right?
all righty. Well, grace and peace be unto you from God our Father and Lord
Let me
Jesus
go back.
Christ. This is Andy C. Lewter, and I'm coming to you on the behalf of the weekly clergy roundtable. And I am joined by several panelists who I am anxious to share with you, and a topic that I pray you will find interesting and engaging as well. Let's start on the east end of Long Island with our overseer. God bless you, overseer.
God bless you, everyone. God bless you, Bishop. I am Overseer Diane Seaman, Good Samaritan Ministries pastor and founder, and I am delighted on this beautiful day to be here with you. God bless.
God bless you, overseer. Thank you. And to the Washington, D.C. area, good morning, doctor.
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Stephanie Stratford. I'm the lead servant of Ecclesia International in Brentwood, Maryland.
Thank you, doctor. Happy as always to see you. And representing the central section of Long Island, my neighbor and friend. God bless you, overseer.
God bless. Good morning. Grace and peace be unto each and every one of you. I am Overseer Regina Ravenel Carr, and I'm the senior pastor of Christian Uprise through Edification Discipleship Ministry.
Thank you. Thank you, overseer. And rounding out the round table today is our good friend and colleague from Buffalo, New York. God bless you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bishop. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking this morning, and I have a bunch of little children in my car. They needed my help this morning. So I'm listening in, and whenever you need me to chime in, I'm here. So we'll go from there.
All righty. Thank you, sir. And again, I'm Andy C. Lewter of the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral of Amityville, New York, and the Queens Ministry of New York City. Listen, we are delighted and happy that you have joined us today. And as always, it's our prayer, even our hope, that either something said and or done over the course of these next several minutes shall prove to be productive, informative, and applicable to your lives. Beloved, the church has a long and somewhat sterling history of being resistant to change. In some areas, they are change agents, as with the Protestant Reformation of 1517 to 1531. But in other areas, the church is extraordinarily slow to embrace change, to adopt change, and to adapt to a changing culture and environment. At the instigation of our Dr. Stephanie Stratford today, we want to talk about the usage of technology in general, but AI tools in particular, to increase the productivity of ourselves, specifically in regards to ministry. It is nothing new that when new technology comes on the horizon, it is oftentimes demonized. It is cast with a negative eye interpretation and definition. We saw that with the rise and the initial onset of television, because it literally was moving pictures and had a deceptive character to it. Those who were part of the holiness movement, the Pentecostal movement at the turn of the century, fought and did not allow members of their congregation to go to the movies or to watch television because it was moving pictures, and those moving pictures were thought to be fraud and deceptive. We have seen even the advent of computers initially in the life of the church, when banks and other corporations had already adopted computers, embedded computers into the workplace. It was the church that was still keeping tabs on the membership with a green roll book because it was thought to be orthodox or somehow semi-sacred. Well, we've come upon AI, and there is a rather robust discussion about whether or not it ought to be used in the life of the church. There are comments that have been made that some people feel like they are cheating or not being authentic or not being sincere with the usage of AI in the area of teaching material, in the area of sermon preparation. And so this is a discussion that I think that we're anxious to have. And it's not a discussion about AI itself. I mean, we could go in several directions in that regard. But we want to talk, get this, beloved, we want to talk specifically about technology and AI as it relates to the church. I gave an example just prior to going on air that Dr. Stratford and I are working on a new title that I'm hoping to release in the not too distant future. And we're going to review a manuscript. And I'm actually changing the manuscript from what I sent on yesterday. And my ability to pivot and to do so quickly is the result of the integration of AI in the ministry workplace. Bishop Bowens and I have talked in the past about how AI now makes it possible to take a sermon, watch this, beloved, that we preached on Sunday and turn it into a self-help book by Wednesday of the following week. And so there are all kinds of applications that are available. Now we're talking about AI-generated avatars that negate the need for high-cost video gear and lighting and studio apparatus. There are just a number of things that are available and that we can do. And so let me yield, invite Dr. Stratford and the other members of our panel to weigh in on this and discuss with you today whether or not this is a pro or con, whether or not this is something we ought to embrace or avoid like the plague.
Well, we know that anything that God creates can be corrupted. And people intentionally run over folks with cars, but we don't stop driving cars. It's, just so many things like that. As far as the demonization of it, and you've addressed it, it just seems to be the nature of the church. I remember when they rejected gospel music and things that are normal now and essential in some cases to the function of particular local assemblies were definitely taboo in the past. And AI offers so many dimensions that save time, save money, save the need for manpower or delays or employing professionals that will charge you exorbitant, prices in order to get a small task done. One of the things it does is that it renders us more efficient. It brainstorms for us. It is able to take what we conceptualize, what we're hearing in the spirit, and flesh it out without us having to spend days and weeks on a project. Once we get the vision for that project and we learn how to articulate to AI, I'm not talking about a general write this for me, but customizing it and putting all of the nuances and the outcome that you want and who it's to and all of those types of things, you come out in a matter of seconds with a product that not only can be spoken, but it can be marketed, it can be visualized. AI can, let's stay with the theme of the sermon. AI can take the sermon and it can tailor it for every age group that's going to be in the building that Sunday, so that there's an alignment in the teaching from Sunday school all the way through to the message, the theme of the message for that day. It can break it down. It can put it in PowerPoint for training. It can create charts and graphs and all types of things that aid in the growth and the development of the church. It can give you the strategies, and when you give it the right information on how to minister to a particular group, or how to um, uh, uh, attract the seekers who are in the community of your church. It's a valuable tool. I have encountered so many people who feel that you are robbing God if you use technology to bring you information that you would have to search for. You know, in the past, we spend weeks getting ready for a sermon, or all night long the night before, whatever your process is. When you can put what God is saying into AI, and it can generate all of the resources that you need to be able to produce and to present excellence in every area of the ministry.
Overseer Carr, I want to hurriedly get to you because I know that your time is somewhat limited today. And so we certainly want to hear from you today. Let me just be vain for just a moment since we're talking about this. I have used the same press photo for the last 15 to 20 years, and I'm constantly being told, you need to update your photo. You need to update
and
your
it
photo.
looks cute. And it looks cute.
But here's my secret. My secret is I took that age-old press photo that's at least 20 years old and ask AI to modernize it, to update it, so what you're seeing, that blue suit, that background, and I have gotten literally, and I'm not kidding you, I've gotten hundreds of reviews and comments and likes from the update to my profile picture on Facebook, which is a product of AI. It was AI assisted. Now, so I teasingly laugh about that on one end. The other side of that, and I want you to jump in here, Overseer, is that it frustrates me that the stuff that I take time to produce with depth and substance, and I put that on Facebook, I might get 2 or 3 likes. And something as vain as a picture that is enhanced, I get hundreds of responses. So help me, Overseer, understand.
I'm right there with you.
Should I be annoyed? Should I be frustrated? Or should I just say it is what it is?
We have to, you know, you got me going 10 ways now. We have to embrace the reality of where people are, you know. What you're saying right now is one of the reasons why I'm struggling with going live on Facebook, because people are mesmerized by the tantalization of what we're saying, but not what we're saying. Okay. And I thank you, Bishop, because I now have my own personal relationship with Dr. Stephanie Stratford. And like I said, she done knocked the wind out of me. She done pushed me down and scratched up my knees, you know, all of that, and just enlightening me, because my scenario is, and your picture is amazing. I'm in awe that you did it through AI, and I think you should have some proposals coming. I'm just saying, watch out. I'm like, oh, look what we doing. Oh, bang, bang. But anyway,
it ain't real. It ain't real. It ain't real.
But who cares? In our society today, who cares? Like I said, one of my problems with people were paying more attention to my nails, to my hair, to my lipstick color. And I'm like, but did you hear what I said? You know, so my here's a scenario for me. Most of you know my sister passed back in, when did she pass? April. And the one assignment that my children allowed me to have, the one assignment that my children allowed me to have was to write the obituary. And Bishop, I sat down and I think I could write. Okay.
You can write.
I think I could write. And I sat down and I wrote the obituary. Watch this. I even ran it past Dr. Stephanie Stratford. And she's like, this is amazing. I'm downstairs doing laundry, cleaning up, whatever. And I called my daughter for something. She said, well, Ma, Naja and I are fixing the obituary, you know. And I'm like, oh, I'm offended, because not so much that I was offended that we were tweaking the obituary, but you didn't even include me in this conversation. Right? So my son, who's I guess a millennial, runs it through AI. Bishop, I'm tight. I'm mad. I'm like, you know what? Don't ask me nothing else. Do whatever you want to do. I'm in my room. Get out of my room. Close my door. Because that's how resistant I was. Offended that I wasn't considered in the process. Now, had they said, Ma, come on, we're going to go over the obituary, and he had told me he was going to put it through AI, I didn't understand what that meant. In fact, I didn't understand what it meant, and they left me out of the process. So it took me a whole day to get over it.
Are you over it now?
Hold on. So now I've taken Dr. Stephanie's class. I went to a workshop, and I've played around and I've done a few things. And so now I'm talking to my son, and I said, well, I went to AI. He's like, no, you didn't. Look, and he says to his wife, look who's using AI. Because it took a while to talk to him. So moving fast forward, I've been asked to train some ministers for a co-pastor. And I've gotten the tools that I feel that can help me establish a curriculum for them. But because of my enlightenment, and I said to Dr. Stephanie, I hear what you're saying with AI, but let me get my groundwork done so I can have a train of thought to put into AI. Okay. So here I am today, not afraid of it, not resisting it, understanding the process of how God can still, it can still be God inspired. But now, you know, one of my the first book that I wrote, the person that helped me publish it, she said, don't worry about it being perfect. We could pay people for that. Okay. So that's what AI is doing for us. It's making it perfect. From what we would do on our own, it's tweaking it and elevating it to another level. So we don't have to be, that's no more than watch this for the young people. That's no more than getting a beat face when you get ready to go out and you put your makeup on and you say, let me beat my face. That's what they call it, Bishop.
Oh, wow.
They call it, you know, it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of makeup, but they say I'm a beat my face. And so when you see the person all done up, they don't sat down an hour or two to beat their face. AI is beating our face with our material. Am I talking right, Bishop? AI is beating our face and taking it from being flat to glamour.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, and I'm anxious to hear the others as well. And here is my position and my stance. AI does, for me, and this is just me, does not produce anything that I cannot produce myself. I consider myself resourceful. I consider myself a disciplined scholar and academician. And given enough time, I can produce any and everything that AI produces. The difference is, whereas it's going to take me 7 weeks to produce the research that I'm looking at, AI can do that in a matter of minutes. I'm working now on a title from apostles to bishops, where I'm tracing the development of the office of apostle, which was original to the design of the church, to the evolving of the office of bishop. Now, I have the tools, I have the resources, but I don't have the time, because I can take the time and I can go to Cyprian and Irenaeus and Tertullian, all of the church fathers. I can talk about the delay of the parousia. I can talk about all of those items that would impact that discussion, but it would take me several weeks to do the research on my own. I've got the library, I've got the material to do so, but AI permits me to do that in a matter of days and minutes, as opposed to weeks and months. Anybody else's experience?
And the document is going to come out beat. It's going to come out
beat. Yes,
it's going to come out beat. And then the fact that you're like, I've always, again, the workshop, the training that I'm getting ready to prepare, she's saying, I already know I can do a workbook, but AI is going to help me do a workbook and the PowerPoint presentation. Boom. So instead, like you said, instead of me having to sit down and take the whole month of August to get ready for this event in September, I could do this in a week or two.
Amen. So, and for those who are interested in revenue and how this blesses you, when I'm working by myself and taking product on the road, if I have to do it, I'm writing one book. So I got one book on the table, and everybody who's coming to me, they can only buy one book. But with AI assisted, I can have 3 books on the table, 4 books on the table. And the same people who would buy one book are now going to buy 3 books or 4 books. Well, I have tripled my net revenue stream with the assistance of technology. I think somebody ought to hear that up in here, right?
I heard it. And I don't mean to keep jumping back at you, because again, she on my back. She done pushed me down. She done knocked the wind out of me, and yes. Look at her. Not me. But it's inspiring to know that you can accomplish these things in a short amount of time. My first book I wrote in 6 weeks, but that's because I was home doing chemotherapy. My second book, my God, it took me months to write that book, to get it out, because life was lifing, The third book I wrote in, in 25, I wrote it in 23, I think, and didn't get it done until 25. Come on. So AI has the capacity to move us forward at a quicker pace and a quicker time and accomplish so much more and be beat while we're doing it. Watch that.
All right.
I love it. Okay, with Bishop Bowens, Overseer Seaman, I know you have a contribution to the conversation.
Sure, I'll jump in, Bishop. Grace and peace be unto one and all. I was juggling a few minutes ago with the children, but I'm back. And listening to the conversation, one of the things that the first word that came to me about AI is that it's scary. That was the first word that came to me, because, when you minister the word in particular, you want to make sure it comes from you. You want to make sure it comes from your heart, your spirit, your mind. But I'm kind of getting used to being critiqued, being refined, being changed. And I had a meeting on Saturday with my leadership team. And I was up at very early in the morning trying to collect my thoughts. And as I began to put my thoughts down, AI jumped in and said, "Do you need some help with that?" And it laid it out so well. The substance was from me, but the critique, the style, the editing was from AI. And I'm telling you, I know that they were looking at that paper like this looked good. First of all, it represented, the church very well and myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so it brought some refinement, and it brought some robust
Right.
to the subject to the
Right.
subject. And so I was really appreciative of that. Not only that, Bishop Lewter took one of my series on he that soweth to the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, and he that soweth to the spirit shall reap of the spirit everlasting life. And I was talking about the importance of sowing, the importance of sowing. And I I spoke about maybe about for about a month or so on the subject, both Wednesday and Sunday. And Bishop, I don't know how he got a hold to it, but he did. And he put that thing together through AI and a few other things, along with my thoughts, along with my participation, my involvement, and wrote a whole book on it. Just a whole book. I cannot wait to release it. It is going to be powerful. And matter of fact, I'm going to give Abe I my book, Prosperity Gospel, in the 21st century. I'm gonna give it to him and let him see what it can do to enhance it. I gave it months. I put in much time, much effort, much energy. But if they can refine it, critique it, and still have my substance, let's go. So
Right.
that's what I have learned from that. Now, the thing that I'm a little leery about is people taking advantage of it. As Dr. Stratford had mentioned to us, people driving a car and driving recklessly and hurting people and things like that. I'm a little leery of it because preachers still should put in their time. They should put in their effort and energy. Just don't press a subject or a scripture and say, "Hey, fix this up for me."
Right.
I think that that's very questionable. You want to always be in a line with the Holy Spirit.
Bishop, and let me remind you of a protocol and a practice. I'm sure you will remember and recall, and the others of you may as well, even though you may not have taken advantage of it. I can remember going to the National Baptist Convention after Labor Day in September. And between the sessions, you would visit the concession area. And there would be a number of concession stands where preachers had sermons. They used to call them canned sermons. And they would mimeograph 10 sermons and package them together for $1. For $1, you could get the outline, you could get everything but the gravy and the hoop. And those canned sermons, and preachers would sneak into the exhibition area because they didn't want other folk to see them perusing and reviewing those canned sermons. And I remember my dad. Now, remember, I'm in seminary and I kind of got this whole, everything ought to come from your head, everything ought to come from your mind. And my dad helped me with it a little bit. He said, I don't take these sermons, and he spent $5, $10. So you know how many sermons he got. I don't take these sermons and preach them as is. I Lutherize them. I take them and then I massage them with my mind. I use my illustrations, my demonstrations. I use the snip. I use the canned sermon to trigger a thought, but I make it my own. Well, I'm doing, to me, AI is doing the same thing, that those cans. So it's a bit hypocritical to talk about what you ought not use when in days gone by, you used to go to the exhibition area and get 10 sermons for $1.
Amen.
But I think we're all doing that on some level, whether I study the commentary, it's something out of the commentary that's triggering my train of thought. For me, when I start out with a sermon, I might have a train of thought in my spirit, but then I go hunt it down for the Bible to back up the train of thought.
That's it.
And hunting it down means I'm looking at it through the different translations. I'm looking at it through the different commentaries. And then I'll sit down and say, okay, God, what you saying? What you want me to say? Now that I have solidified the train of thought biblically, and the commentary gives me verbiage to communicate it to people in a way that they can connect with it. So AI is nothing but a elevated commentary, to help us get this information faster. Even if you want to compare it to the library, when we used to have to go to the library and find a reference and pull out, what was that thing, the drawers that gave you
catalog,
the catalog, but it was a whole other thing where you have to go to. AI is taking that out of the equation now. We can stay, we can do it on our phone. B, it happens in seconds.
That is so good. That is you. I like the way that you said that, and people don't realize that they use AI and have been using it for years.
Right.
Um, GPS every day, all day long. Google is just a search engine that's AI powered, or I would say that AI is
As
the mother
enhanced.
of Google.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
because Google can't give you everything, but people, the same folks who say they don't trust AI, use Google all day long. I will, and I'm going to be real quick, because I know that overseer needs to say something, but I wanted to piggyback on Bishop Bowen's. There is a high level of concern for ethical use of AI, and in the training, they make sure that they emphasize it to you. But AI cannot do anything unless it's humanly trained. And it does leave open room for bias,
Yes.
because whoever trains it, if they're biased in any way, they can put those biased ideas and train the model so that it could prohibit someone being employed or getting the proper medical treatment or whatever. So we have a responsibility to be ethical in our use of AI. And AI is limited, and people don't understand that, because it may be trained up to 2024. So if you're trying to research something that happened last night, it doesn't have that information unless it's something from the past. And what AI will do is it will hallucinate, meaning it will try to impress you by giving you misinformation. So the responsibility that we have as clergy people is to guard the truth. And that means you don't just say, do this for me, and boom, it pops it out, and then you stand before the people. There is still work that has to be done. You still have to make sure, unless you know that information to know it's correct, that before you present it, that you have made sure that it is error-free, because it will give you the wrong scriptures. It's in all industry.
That's right.
So you don't want to get caught with mud on your face because you did not do your due diligence.
That's good. That's good. All right, overseer.
I'm still learning, because y'all know how I am with mechanical things. It's just not me. And I swore, I said, AI is going to take over. AI is going to do this. We have to be careful. And we do have to be careful. You're absolutely right. But I remember Reverend Adams telling us back in the day, he said, so what do you think? It was about something that we had in class. And he said, well, that's commentary too. So we also can make our own commentary, which is something that we really don't think of when we run to all of the different versions of the commentaries. And I sat there and I said, okay. And then I went to my baby girl, Bishop, my Jaden, and I said, Jay, Grandma needs you to help her do so and so. Show me how to just put this where it needs to go. She said, Grandma, let me help you. Let me show you how I get through school. I said, how, Jay? She says, give me your phone. Chat CPT. I said, what? She
Right.
said, now ask it what you want and then work with it. I said, what? She said, yep, 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay. So I have one that taught me how to get my money straight on the phone. Grandchildren are wonderful instruments. And the other one showing me how to do this. But I still, speaking with her and everyone else, I want to sit down and go to classes on it. I sat up Bishop Lewter, me who does not do all this stuff most of the time. And I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning. I had so much fun with AI, it was not even funny. So I just want to know how to properly input it, because when it comes to the church and sermons, and I preached on last Sunday and at a church, and AI printed out wonderful stuff. But one thing that people have to realize and understand, which I don't think they ever will, or they won't believe, you can tell AI what you want. You can put it in whatever you want to. I call AI kind of like not the God's refiner's fire, but kind of like a refiner's fire. Because I had 6 different things in my head that God put in my head, and putting them into an integrative order that was acceptable and made sense was what I was trying to work with. So I told AI what I wanted to do, and it put it in an order. And I went, wow, okay, this is fine. But what people don't understand is that no matter what AI can do with a sermon, unless you just have to plagiarize, period, nobody can tell you what God puts in your heart and in your mouth. That's going to come out just the way it comes out. And things get tweaked, they get said, but it's a wonderful tool. It shouldn't be minimized. And I admittedly, on public TV, whatever, I'm going to find some classes, Bishop. I'm coming your way into Dr. Stratford. I think I might spend a weekend in Virginia and find out how to really appropriately use it. And I think that's what people don't understand and what they might be afraid of or feel they don't have the time for. But I spent more than half my life in school, so I have time for at least a weekend to find out how to appropriately use AI. All things have value, but we have to find out what the value is, what the limitation is. And when it comes to ministry, I think it's a wonderful tool because there's a lot of stuff to be done and you can't spend all of your time. I have a pretty decent, fair amount of books in my own personal library. And I do not have time to read everything in those books. And then there's the chance that you might miss something that might bring a point that nobody ever thought about, including you. And those things are all wrapped up in AI. I think all things are valuable. It's what, again, it's what people do with them. It's what we do with stuff. It's how we handle things that make it inoperable, make it invaluable, make it very, very insecure to most things in most platforms. If we learn how to use things properly and appropriately and not be afraid to say, and this is a thing that we do too, especially in the church, nobody wants to say, I don't know how to do that. Well, I don't know how to do it the proper way. I can input all of that. I can get it. I still don't know how to delete stuff. So my phone is like, if you don't get rid of some of this stuff, I've even had fun. I went to the coloring book, Bishop, which you'll see in the forgiveness luncheon, and I found cute. It printed out forgiveness pictures for me. Then I went back and it did it with scriptures, and I'm having a great time. But I still don't know how to use it as appropriately as I would like to. And that's what I think that we need to do as responsible individuals in God's house, preachers and otherwise, especially preachers. We need to find out how to use things appropriately. Because back in the day and in the day, we go to a commentary and we pick out something and we have no idea what the correlating stuff is to that. We just found a scripture that we wanted that sounded good, or found an explanation we wanted that found good. Looking for it takes time. I know, because I sat with Bishop Lewter. I do not want to be wrong when I get in front of him. So we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable. We have to learn. We have to be willing to say, I don't know how to do that. So until we take the responsibility and the accountability, and then take what God has given us, because AI and nobody else can take from you what God has put in your head and in your heart. And if we sit down, and let me just say, because we're in an age where nobody wants to read, I sent a text yay long and I got back a K. I'm like, really? it infuriated me. So I didn't know what in the world to do. And I'm like, this is not good. Then I'm saying to another text, whatever, and this and that. Where's the D on the word and? So nobody is taking the time. Most people are not taking the time to read, to write, to comprehend. And that's what makes AI dangerous. That's what makes us dangerous to AI. No, G. That's what makes AI dangerous to people and people dangerous to AI. It's a tool that is meant to be and is using. Bye bye, G. I love you going.
G, did you want to jump in before you were? I thought you were.
I
Were you
do, but
waving?
I really gotta go. I did. I just want to say, if we want to reach the masses, we have to stay abreast of what's going on in
Yeah.
society today. That's it. Y'all have a good day.
Safe
Okay.
trip.
Be
Safe
safe.
You
travel.
know, one of the things that I'm finding is more and more people are using technology either knowingly or unknowingly. How many times have you been in a conversation and your mind goes blank and you say, who was that actor who played in that movie about so and so and so and so in 1983? And whoever you're talking to, they hit a few buttons and they come up with the answer. Here's my point. My point is that we are producing generations who expect information to be available and to be available immediately. No longer can you say, I don't know, because there's a higher level of intolerance for not knowing because the ability to know is so readily
Right there.
available. And let me say this as a historian, to me, there is a strong parallel here. The appearance of the vernacular Bibles in the 16th century, Miles Coverdale, Thomas Matthew, William Tyndale, all of them were driven by the desire and the belief that information should be available to the masses. For over 1,000 years, the Roman Catholic Church had held scripture hostage in the Vulgate, in the Latin language that nobody knew how to read and didn't have available. And then you come up with the Tyndales and the Coverdales who say, no, we're going to make information available to the masses. Was it not Tyndale who said that the plowboy in the field, his intent was that the plowboy in the field be as conversant as the bishop when it comes to the Bible? So I'm seeing a repeat of a paradigm that we have been practicing literally for hundreds of years. And technology is simply the latest tool that allows us to do that.
Amen. And it's not going anywhere. This isn't a trend, a phase, a fad. This is moving from horse and buggy to the T model to the Tesla. And, so we cannot ignore, even as seniors, which has driven me investing in myself, developing myself to pull my generation into the 21st century. We cannot enjoy the fullness of life that is offered us
And available.
with available without embracing AI, because they don't care about us not wanting to know and about our religious apprehensions and all of that. I remember when the ATMs first came out, my parents were like, I'm not putting my money in that box on the corner, for them to say that I didn't deposit it and woo, woo, woo.
Ah.
But when I look back and I share with I have 5 millennial kids and 2 Gen Xers. When I share with the millennials, you had to get up and walk to the television to change the channel. TV didn't run all night long. The bank wasn't open 24 hours a day, because they were born into this age of technology. My grandchildren start scrolling as soon as they realize they can move their fingers,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So it's something that if we prayerfully embrace it, everyone has their process. some people, it's like transitioning a congregation. You've got the group that'll say, Bishop, I'm with you. I don't understand it, but let's go. Then you're going to have the
Right.
group that says, I'm with you, but I need you to slow down a little
Yeah,
bit. Give me a
explain it.
little more details. And then you have the other group that says, I'm not doing it. And I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be right here with my shenanigans. So, we have to make decisions that will affect our quality of life. Yes, there are so many ways that AI can facilitate your financial increase, and the church needs to take the moment to learn, to understand, to study our leaders, you know, take a course, do whatever. I coach one-on-one AI optimization specialist. And
I will be there, trust me.
okay, drstephaниestratford.com.
Yes, Lord.
And there's plenty of free information out here, because the church can benefit. If you don't have a bunch of kids there, AI will give you strategy on how to write your social media posts and bits and pieces of the sermons on your post, or marketing the church and a service that you're having, all of these types of things, how to deal with certain age groups and what are they looking for, what are they searching for, what are their needs. So you can feed your demographics of your congregation into AI, and it will tell you where the needs are. And that's what people are going for now, whether it's in the marketplace, in the kingdom, writing books. Books that sell are books that meet the needs of people. And so we have to consider what we are denying. Jesus said more works. You'll do greater works.
Yes.
All knowledge comes from God. So how can we say, oh, this is evil?
Right.
Just like he taught man to fly, he's teaching us AI.
And if we don't use, reminded the story of the talents when it comes to stuff like this, because if we don't use what he has given us, he will take it from us. And we have great reprehension coming from that. We need to use, everybody is using it with us, for us, and against us. So if we don't keep up, and that includes everyone. I mean, I'm saying it, there's no age limit unless you're dead or you're totally. And if let me just say, if you do have a brain deficiency, let me put it that way, if you can't think as quick as you used to, all of these instruments and all of these things will help your brain to work a lot better. It will trigger your brain to think about things that you haven't and put things in place that you maybe not able to put in place at that time. So all things are beneficial. We just have to learn to use them and not be daddy's remote control anymore.
Man, Bishop Bowens, I heard you trying to jump in there.
Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of the versatility of AI and how other areas of employment may use it, such as a doctor, lawyer, teachers, engineers. I'm sure that it has benefited many of them greatly. As a lawyer, if you're looking for something that's a precedence and you're trying to establish some legal matter or some legal thought, you can look back quickly through AI, because book searching, good gracious, and then also you can Google it and so forth and so on. And I'm sure doctors in the medical area as well, for health reasons and different things like that. So I'm thinking that it has benefited other groups throughout, to help make things more effective and better just for humanity. So I'm thinking it from that perspective as well. not just in the church, because the church seems to be the last one to jump on the bandwagon. We seem to be the last one to catch up. You know, if I go to the church on Sunday and start talking about AI, they thought they might think that I have gone astray or something. So I think that, you know, the younger generation, the millennial generation, and Generation X, and so forth and so on, they are there. But us baby boomers and the silent generation, we probably have some challenges with it because, you know, you get comfortable and complacent with doing things a certain way that you forget that life is about progressing, about going forward. Ever since I have known Bishop Lewter, he has dove into technology. When I first met him, the first place he wanted to take me was Radio Shack. So I'm I'm like, Bishop, if we come to have a good time in the Lord, Bishop wanted to go to Radio Shack. And so just looking at that, but I think that we have to make sure that we on the cutting edge of what is going on in our world and our society, so that we can be able to speak to it and then also be able to embrace what is advantageous and beneficial for us.
Amen. And John Hopkins did a study. They programmed AI to deal with a respiratory condition that they were had a high mortality rate, and it reduced it. I think don't hold me to it, but I think it was over 60% improvement in the treatment of their patients, because you train it for what you need it for and give it all of the information and data and all of that, and then it begins to pull in automatically as it does machine learning. It expands based on certain patterns or whatever. It'll pull in information. So you're dead on. All industries, it's just the reality now. All industries are using it, and it's not taking jobs, it's creating jobs. And with us being in the space where we are working remotely and whatever, if you can master certain skills using AI, then that creates multiple streams of income for you. We cannot depend on handouts from the government, even when we have jobs that we've had for years. People will tell you that can be taken from you in a moment.
Yes. That's one reason when you say that, I smile, because it's more than a moment. When we had this last jump and they were talking about the state is going to freeze, the government's going to freeze their money, we won't have any money, we won't have any money. It took me back, Bishop, way back. And when I worked in the hospitals, and one payday, they handed everybody a piece of paper that said, there is no money. And we all panicked. And their answer was, take it to the bank. They're not going to take all of your houses. They're not going to take all of your cars. They eventually know they're going to get their money. And this is what we did. And we lived that way for 3 months or 6 paydays, 6 or 8, with no paycheck whatsoever. So they flip in a minute. They flip one way, they flip the other. But we have to know where we stand. And the reality is, they weren't going to take everybody's house. They weren't going to take everybody's car. The reality is, you have to wait and you have to learn to see what the outcome is going to be.
Bishop, I have one question for you before we go. What is your thought about how do we incorporate AI into, you know, just the entire church fellowship? You know, because many of our millennial and generation groups, they preeminently focus primarily on this type of thing. How do we incorporate AI into a service or into a fellowship along with our younger generation?
It's an excellent question, and I will confess to you that I don't have a comprehensive answer. I am meeting later this morning with a young person for the sole purpose of having that discussion, Bishop. The agenda for our meeting is for him to outline and give me a guide on a fuller, more comprehensive integration of technology in terms of what I'm doing. And as those of you who are on here have stated in the past, I've always been acquainted with technology, but I will confess to you, I cannot keep up. I don't feel that I am on par with what the market, where the marketplace is. And I need to be tutored and taught and guided and held by the hand. This person who's coming is married to an influencer. I'm not sure I even understand totally what an influencer is, but I know anybody who has 45,000 people following them to see what they buy at Walmart and what they have for breakfast.
They know.
I need to understand that. So I'm chasing.
They know. It reminds me, Bishop, remember the presentation you did, the young man that came on about the church for children? The church.
Sure. Oh yeah, JR. Yeah. Matter of fact, I reached out to him recently because I want to know where's our $500. Go ahead.
Well, I've been trying to find out his phone number again because I still have it in my phone. I need to know how to really use it, and that's another piece that
the Bitmoji Church, I think, is what he was talking about. The Bitmoji Church.
Yep. And it was interesting, and it was along the lines of how you get to people. So AI is another way to get to another branch. Because for me, what AI did, for somebody who doesn't know, it also does a focus like printed lesson out. And I have a smaller congregation. So after the sermon, I'm able to hand them something that's printed out that they can take home and then study so they don't forget what it was that we talked about.
Wow. Well, listen, friends, it's well beyond an hour. I want to thank you for your time. Until next time, go in peace, go in joy, love, and happiness, for the author of the same most certainly goes with you.